Hello and welcome to Is This You TV. This is the second episode and I'm very, very pleased to be joined by my friend and guest, Alfie Joey.
I'm chuffed to be here. Thanks very much for having me. What a setup.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Look at the studio and a big shout out as always to Howell Studios. The geniuses behind this are just sitting over there doing all the magic buttons and all of that stuff.
They're very good.
And thanks for coming, Alfie. And this podcast is all about inspirational people and inspirational moments in their lives. And I think you've taken some inspiration from the Is This You look. You've got the jacket and the shirt. We're both identical today.
Absolutely. Where's your pocket square and your
I know.
little flower?
I need to get that sorted. I need to up my game. I've even got the same coloured glasses now.
Do you know what? I've just changed glasses and I ordered 2 pairs of glasses yesterday in Eldon Square and they're closer to
very
yours.
close,
This
yeah.
is getting very worrying.
Yeah.
We're just merging into one person.
We're morphing. Oh my God, can you imagine that?
Awful.
So, I know a lot about your life, Alfie, and obviously a lot of people who probably listening have seen you on stage or, listen to one of your talks. But the little bit I want to just hone in on is that inspirational moment, because at Is This You, we're all about building a life and a business you love. And it's waking up every morning. It's Monday mornings that you are excited about what's going to happen in the week ahead. You are bouncing out of bed. And that's what we want to actually create. And you can actually do that. You can create a life like that. It's not easily done. And it took me 30 years. But once I started to get into the personal development and the mindset and the structure and the accountability and the network to do it, it happened rapidly, but it took me about 27 years to do that. But hopefully we can fast track people. And what I'd like to do is zero in on the point where you thought, okay, I've been doing the radio show for a long period of time, at which point you decide to leave and then go solo, go on your own.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's a subject I don't talk a huge amount about. And I wonder whether that's because it was hard.
Yeah.
It was a massive risk.
Yeah.
And I made a ton of mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes. And if I could do it again, that bit I'd be a bit more careful with. I would be a little bit more sensible and strategic. And honestly, there was a guy called Martin Wardle. I don't know if you know Martin.
I know Martin, yeah.
So Martin's an accountant. And I went on his podcast on the day I announced to the listeners I was leaving the BBC.
Okay.
And Martin, after the podcast finished, he said to me, what plan have you got? And I said, well, I'll just, I'll pick up a few gigs. I'm going to do pantomime. That'll take us up to January, and then I'll just start some gigs.
Yeah.
And he went white.
Yeah.
And he phoned me as I left, and he phoned me up. Well, he asked me a few more questions, and he said, if you don't mind me asking, what sort of gigs? And I said, well, I draw a bit, I'll host here and there. He said, what sort of drawing gigs would you get? I said, well, maybe I could draw a wedding. He went, what would you charge for that? I went, I don't know, mate, £150. I don't know what the going rate is. I think them chocolate fountains, they charge up to about £5, something around that, I don't know. He went, okay. And when I left, he phoned me and he was so kind. He said, can you come back in and I'll do you a free business plan because you haven't got one and I'm worried for you.
Yeah.
Now, I did that business plan and I aimed for it. He was an absolute wizard. I'd recommend him because he just did this. You could probably do it as well. I am not a business person. Mm-hmm. And I know you're going to be talking about inspirational people, but these days, business audiences inspire me.
Yeah.
And I've got this catchphrase, but it's absolutely true. I look out at them and I say, when I grow up, I want to be you.
Yeah.
Because I'm still a child. I'm still catching up.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. And Martin put this plan together for me that I really should have done way before I left the BBC. But I didn't know that was coming. I got an opportunity to do the pantomime and to design the sets, and that became a stopgap job. But then it was Martin who said, you're an expert in speaking.
Yes.
and you're an expert communicator, you've done it for 30 years, that's where you can grow a business. I hadn't thought of that at all. And that is now the thing. That
That's
is
your
now
business.
everything, really. Yeah.
I mean, you are gigging constantly. There's sometimes we'll do a gig together, and you'll be off to another gig, and then
Yeah,
one
yeah.
after that.
Yes, yeah.
So it's amazing how busy you are, and obviously that's your brand, your presence, your personality, and all of those things. But you're dead right. A strategic plan is so important, and that's what we do in Is This You? We uncover what a person really wants to be, who they want to be, what they want their business to be. Because people come to us and say, okay, I want to scale my business. The first thing we'll do is we'll find out if that is the right thing for them.
Yeah.
So it's all, and that's what Is This You is. So Is This You was born out of looking at someone's life and saying, okay, look at where you are now. Is this you? Is this who you want to be? And that's why we are Is This You? And that's what it's all about. So we try and peel everything back to the point where we look at somebody's values, their ambitions, their aspirations, who they admire, that whole piece about who do you want to be.
Yeah.
And then we need a plan to get there, because like you said, without that plan, you just get lost. You need that destination to aim for in order to put together the steps to get there. And I think it's so important. And so that's a big part of what we do. And so I'm just interested to know what made you take the leap from the BBC, and then once you'd done your plan, where did you want to get to?
Yes. Well, I loved the BBC. It was an incredible privilege to speak to lots of people every day, and I was obsessed with it. I never knew how shattered I was when I finished, till I finished, and how much I gave to that show. I was obsessed with it. It didn't stop when that red light went off at 10 o'clock. I would then go into a meeting, we'd plan the next day's show, and I'd think about nothing else when I went home, and I'd be writing stuff and preparing stuff, sending tweets out, responding to listeners all day till I went to bed at about 8 o'clock at night. And it was early morning shows, do wear you down, So at some stage, I remember we did COVID, and that was, I would say, is possibly the most value I've ever been able to give. And it was because of the job I had. And I was very lucky because lots of me comedy mates and other people lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods at that time. So I was very lucky I could still go to work, but also local radio goes to another level when things go wrong. It comes into its own. So whether it's school closures, storms, COVID, people tune into us. They don't go to Radio 4 or 5 Live. They want answers locally. And so we become very, very important for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So I really felt I had a serious role to play. And then the vintage BBC, they changed everything during COVID, rightly so. And I was in a studio of my own. They took me co-host off me. They put her on another time of day. So we weren't in the same studio. And we were all in different rooms, keeping people safe. And that was absolutely knackering, but it was great, At 10 o'clock, I'd come off air, me producer, talking through the glass, right, who we're going to get on? We need these answers out. My LinkedIn inbox was full every day. So I was worn out by the end of it, but the BBC said, we're going to keep this model when the doors open and when the events start again. How do you feel about that? And I said, I can't possibly go back to do all of me events, or we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And I thought, well, you won't. You're going to keep this model. And I love going out doing live events, hosting awards, speaking, etc.
So you were doing that as part of the BBC?
I was always doing that
or
as me. I was always self-employed when I was at the BBC. I was never staff. So they offered me a staff job, but I loved the variety. I always liked going out and doing other stuff because it informed the radio show. It kept me connected to normal people as well. So I knew I couldn't do both. And then out of the blue, I got offered, Ray Spencer from the Customs House Theatre, is a great guy, asked me over to the Customs House and said, Do you want to design the pantomime sets? Do you want to do the costumes? And you can be in it as well. And I thought, that's the job that can get me out of the BBC.
Yeah.
But I didn't look beyond that. And it was Martin Wardle who said, you could be a coach and a keynote speaker, and that could be the most serious part of your business.
Absolutely. And this was 2021, 22?
Yeah, 22, 23, yeah.
Yeah, 22, 23. Yeah. It's interesting because I've spoken to so many people who've had that moment, that inspirational moment in a time of quite a desperation for a lot of people during COVID. Yeah. I was the same. Well, my story, I guess quite a lot of people hear about it. But, I'd built a 7-figure property business. I lost that in the credit crunch in 2008.
The crash, yeah.
And that I lost myself a lot in that point. At that point, lost my identity, confidence, all of those things, and did a lot of building back up. And I released. I don't know if you saw my newsletter, my LinkedIn newsletter. The last episode was called "The £1 Million Bacon Sandwich," and that's the story of how I was offered a free bacon sandwich and turned that into a £2 million business in 2 years.
Yeah.
And that was my sort of redemption, if you like.
Yeah.
But the problem was I was just chasing the money to get the money back from that I'd lost.
Yeah, to prove something.
To prove that I could do it again and I could be who I thought I wanted to be. And then it was COVID that made me sit back. And obviously everything, it was terrible for so many people.
Yeah.
For me, and I think we're very similar, I didn't have that radio outlet. I had a laptop at home and I struggled so badly with the isolation, although I have my family around me, that kind of...
Pressure cooker.
Yeah, it was every single moment of every day, as you know. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that business that I'd exited and, I was lost, completely lost. And I got to the point where I think I was suffering from sort of that post-traumatic stress from when I'd lost everything.
Yeah.
And although I'd built it back to a certain degree, I
hadn't cleared the decks
I
of
hadn't
that.
cleared it. And it all came back, and that isolation and the time on my hands, and I lost myself again to the point where I could barely leave the house. And I realised at that point that I need to completely change my life. So very similar to you, I had my inspirational moment then, and I knew that I wanted to help people and coach people and give my experience of business, 25 plus years of business by then, 30 years now, at 15 years of personal development, coaching. So, and that's what came together in Is This You? So I had the same inspirational moment at the same time as you did. And a big part of what we asking Is This You? Is where do you want to be? So, Alfie, where do you want to be in a couple of years' time, 2 years' time?
Well, I'm much more focused now.
Yeah.
I'm much more intent on developing the speaking aspect.
Yeah.
I host all over the place.
You do.
I can't host much more.
Yeah.
Certainly in the Northeast. I think I've hosted almost everything I've wanted to host in the Northeast.
Right.
And I ticked a huge box just the other night, Thursday night. I did the Marketing Awards, Northeast Marketing Awards, massive in the Virtue Arena. And I've always hosted loads of events for Echo Events. They're absolutely superb. So they do the North of England Law Awards, the Accountancy Awards. They're big events, always at the Hilton, but their biggie is the Marketing Awards. Okay. And I love the subject of marketing.
Yeah.
I was always interested in it when I was on the radio, how marketers will come to us and try and get people on or sell a product or sell a person. So I find it fascinating, and the use of story in advertising or in what we do.
Yes.
Fascinating. So I did that the other night and I loved it. But having hosted countless, and I'll always be a host, I'll always be a nosy Parker. I love getting lost in a conversation like this.
Yeah.
And I'm very at ease with, and I love preparing. I love doing lots of research. I don't cheat. I put the work in. But I realised way too late in the game that I need to be the guy in the other chair, because I think it's a little bit easier. I've come in here today. I haven't had to research you or anything. I'll just talk and,
You
and
just have
answer
to
the questions.
Yeah, exactly.
But as the host, you do a lot of work, and in theory, a lot of it ends up in the bin because you've got to start all over again for the next panel or podcast or whatever
Yeah.
the event is. Whereas I think the people who do a keynote, it evolves, it changes, but you turn up, you do. I did a keynote in Belgium the other week.
Yes,
and
I saw that.
I
Yes.
went to Belgium, and I did 45 minutes. I did the same 45 minutes for 2 different groups, and then that was the end. They came up to me, they went, you can go and have a look around the sites of Belgium now.
Fantastic.
This doesn't know. I'm normally on all day.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
mentally
yeah,
on.
absolutely.
And the day is built around you keeping it all together. There's a lot of... the smoother an event is if you're the host.
Yeah.
You were first class when we did that thing at the Bic, at
Thank
the
you.
Grand. You'd put the work in. It was seamless. It felt good as a speaker. But you were on all day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a lot of work went into that, I know.
It is, and the energy you put into that, you just at
Yeah.
the end, the
Flattens
adrenaline
you.
goes,
Flattens
you're
you. Yeah,
exhausted
yeah,
at the
yeah,
end.
yeah.
Yeah, and so I suppose your vision is in 2 years' time,
Yeah.
keynotes around the world.
Yes, oh, absolutely. So I've got another one. Belgium, the EU group have asked me back,
Amazing.
and maybe in Estonia, I think next year.
Wow.
But I want to do quite a lot of that. I look at people like Jeff Ram, Michael Heppel, who are just great speakers.
I think Michael's going to come on the podcast.
Oh, he's
coming up.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just look at them and think, again, when I grow up, I want to be you.
Yeah,
and
brilliant.
And that's it. I think everything I've started has been too late. I'm the poster boy for it's never
Yeah.
too late. I didn't do comedy till I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
I didn't do radio till I was in my 40s. Didn't do art till I was in my 50s. and I'm happy to wait till it's right. And I don't think I was thinking this morning, how many keynotes would I need to do? And again, this is the planning, and this is the long-term focus I need to put into making it right. And so this year, this Christmas, I made a hard decision not to do pantomime.
Yeah.
Because the optics of business, I do think business people and the LinkedIn world, it's full of dummies. They get easily confused, and they're just like one thing. I just want to see one thing. You do too many things, and I'm all over the place trying to perceive who or what you are. So I've had to ditch the pantomime because the optics of that, when it gets to November, on LinkedIn, if you start putting pictures of yourself as an emperor or a it's comedy character, and also I used to do a business comedy course every January and February, do it twice, and it was so good. Again, people came to me and said, "You've changed my life. You've given me an incredible experience." But I had people coming up to me saying, "You know that comedy thing you do? Do you also do public speaking training?" I'm going, "Yes, that's the main thing. That's the main thing I do."
and
So I'm
that's
having
key,
to
isn't it?
refine everything and focus it and make it crystal clear what my offer is. So my offer going forward is, I will speak at your conference, I'll host your conference, and I'll coach you up public speaking. And keep it in those 3 tidy, clear realms.
I think you're dead right, because your message, there's so much noise, and your message has to be really succinct.
Yes.
And to know exactly who your customer is, who is your ideal customer. And that's a lot of work that we do with clients, because you can have an amazing range of products, but it gets lost.
Yeah.
So it's who exactly is your ideal client. And if you've got a number of them, then we need to really hone in on who you want to speak to, on which platform and through which medium. And it can be an art as well to do that correctly, and to get that message through. And these days, especially with AI and everyone's an expert at everything, or according to their posts they are, I think that is really key to cut through. And this gets us into a bit around the personal branding. So we did the Northeast Big Growth Lab, which I hosted and you were a fantastic guest on. And we talked about personal branding and how important it is to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
And that the key in business, I feel, is just that know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you have people who, first of all, have got to know you, so you've got to get it out there.
Yeah.
But they've got to like and trust you. And I think if you have that, it's your first step to actually a really successful business.
Yeah.
But I think the other step is having that clear destination in mind that we've talked about, and having a real strategic plan in place,
Yeah.
so that because time flies so fast. And
It does.
How fast is 2025?
Yeah.
And now we're going into 2026, and if you blink, you missed it. And if you didn't have a plan and you didn't have those key milestones to hit and targets to hit, you won't have achieved what you want to achieve. So I think it's really important to do that, and you've obviously found that now, and you're knowing exactly what you're going to do. You're honing in, you're focusing.
But you can't stop
And
doing
you've got
it,
a
can
plan.
you? So I'm listening and learning constantly and tweaking and just making things clearer.
Yes.
I remember when I started out, so Martin Wardle had helped me with, you need to do this, that, and that. You need these things in place. And I was developing that. And that's when I came up with Speak Easy Guy.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I came up with Alfie Joey's Speak Easy Club. And a mate of mine in Liverpool, who's a comedian, but he runs the Southport Comedy Festival, and he's great, really good. He phoned me up, he said, mate, you're not the Speakeasy Guy. He said, you're not Speakeasy Club, that's vaudeville. He said, the businesses don't understand vaudeville and entertainment. He said, you're the Speakeasy Guy.
Yeah.
And then I
absolutely.
realised that is, if you position yourself as an expert, it can be a bit uncomfortable. For someone like me, I'm not usually a boaster or a bragger, but it's taken me ages to realise that you can't get anywhere unless you do tell people.
You've got to get out there,
your story.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong to tell your story. It's right to tell your story. In fact, if you don't tell your story, you're going to lose. In this game, it's crucial.
100%. It's all about the story. It's all about the personal connection.
Yeah.
Without that, you're a faceless brand. Unless you're a Nike or an Apple, you can't cut through.
Well, people buy from people, and if you
100%,
the more stories you can tell, the more you can make them relatable. And I now I've realised when I go in to do training or workshops or one-on-one, I just do see people very reluctant and find it awkward or don't think their story's very good. And the joy I get is releasing that and letting the genie out the bottle. And when they see it works, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And that is so frustrating when I say, especially charities. Charities, you're the worst.
Yeah.
so charities they sit on the best stories. They've got the best stories.
Yeah.
But they're very meek and humble and think, well, except Sergio from Red Sky Foundation.
We were with Sergio on Friday, weren't we? And he had the rant.
And again, some people, he rubs some people up the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I just think, well, I would, even if it means being a little bit more Sergio and you're a bit more out of your comfort zone, he does not fear telling his story. He's out there telling it all the time and banging a drum. And I think in this day and age where growth is a problem, where, businesses tell your stories, charities tell your stories, individuals tell your stories, it's the only way to get heard. It's a very noisy world.
100%, Alfie. You helped me to tell my story, which was brilliant, and my life changed when I did. It became more authentic. The relationships I had became more authentic, and
I remember, and I don't think I've got much to teach you because you've been there and done it. But there was one thing I remember you asked me for some feedback on a presentation you gave. And I don't know if you remember that, but you said you were quoting Gandhi or people like that, be the change in the world you want to be. And I think, you don't want people quoting Gandhi. You want people quoting you.
Yeah.
And
I
want to remember your quotes.
100%.
You've got, those are the ones that'll land. Those are the ones that'll take us back to you.
100%. And I've taken that advice 100%. And I remember another piece of advice you gave me, which was have the ta-da moment.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think I was trying to think what that would be. And obviously I'd told my story previously, and I'd started to build this really good network and these opportunities. And what I did was I put up instead of telling people that I'd been in business 30 years, I put up the photograph
Yeah.
of my first business.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember? I think
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And I've got hair like Elvis.
Yes, I remember that, yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
And that was my ta-da. But look,
Yeah.
there's me in reality. That's my story. That's what 30 years of business does to you.
But
that
you,
kind
you're
of thing.
constantly producing them as well. So
Yeah.
the bacon sandwich story.
The £1 million bacon
The £1
sandwich.
million
that
bacon
was
sandwich, that's yours.
Yeah.
And that's so, you know, it's got so much to it as a story. It's brilliant.
Absolutely. And I went to AI and asked them to create a £1 million bacon sandwich, and it was covered in gold. But yeah, it was, and that was a big one.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was a big one.
Yeah.
So yeah, telling the story and get out there and pushing your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, this. I'm not exactly sure when this episode's coming out, but we are rapidly approaching 2026. So I'd like to plug an event if that's all right. And,
Yes,
and I'll welcome a plug from yourself.
I'll do the same.
So we've got Maximise 26. Now we ran Maximise 25 last January, and we got a lot of people into the Is This You community. We've run lots of programs, we've run lots of training, and people's lives have changed. And we're running it again on the 16th of January, and it's going to be a live streamed event from the Howell Studios. It's going to be amazing. So the Howell production team are incredible. They're
great.
They run Atomicon and all of that. So it's going to be a really, really good live streamed event. We're going to have a bit of a live audience as well, and we're going to show people really what is possible and how having that strategic plan can work for you, how to build a life you love, how to really scale a business that you love as well, and also to have the confidence to do so, the confidence to put yourself out there, to tell your story, how to overcome imposter syndrome, how to really get to a point where you can be authentically you, out there and cutting through the noise. And I think all of those things are really key.
Vital.
So that's my plug.
That's exciting.
Maximise 26. Hope you'll be there, Alfie.
Yes.
It's the 16th of January, 9:30 a.m. till 12:30.
My brother's birthday, I've remembered it. So, here's my plug. 28th of January, you've just enjoyed the live stream event. And you've thought, how can I put that into practice? That's all great, but I just love to act it out and tell my stories and get another next level experience on the back of that. You come to the Customs House and you do it on stage.
Wow.
We've got lecterns, we've got microphones, we've got cameras. And I did it as a trial during summer, and it really worked. There's testimonials on my YouTube page. I'm sharing them frequently on LinkedIn. I put these things together with a lot of care, with a lot of love, and I think this will be good. But when people feed back that it's changed them, it's and they say things I didn't expect to hear. You know that you know it's radically changed them in a way I didn't expect. That excites me a lot. So we're going to do it again, 20th of January at the Customs House. There's an Eventbrite, but you can find it on my LinkedIn. I'm posting about it every few days because I'm excited about it. And if the morning fills up, we'll do it again in the afternoon.
Brilliant.
And it is public speaking practice, but in a theatre, on a stage, on a big stage. Yeah. And you get to feel it, and you get to do it with other people. And I give video feedback after the event as well. So consider it, look at it, and then I'll send you a little video back.
That sounds amazing, Alfie.
Great.
Well, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
We'll have your details of that in the episode notes. Both of us available on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Everywhere on LinkedIn.
Regular, yeah.
You've got to be regular and consistent.
Tell stories.
Absolutely.
Tell
your stories.
Yeah.
Have a plan. Yeah. Execute it well, and you'll get to where you want to be. Awesome. Thank you, Alfie, for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
What a guy. What a guy. And thank you all at Howell, mate. What an outfit this is.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, come and use it.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much.